Welcome to the Orlando Lions Den podcast, your number one Orlando City podcast. For the fans, by the fans. For the fans, by the fans. Keeping you in the know on all things Orlando City since 2018.
Hello. Welcome to another edition of Orlando Lions Den podcast. It's Alex and Alex show tonight.
Alex B, Alex R. I'm convinced the technology did not want this show to happen, but we made it happen.
Yeah, 4 freeze outs later and a hard reboot. Let's see if I can make it through the show.
We'll do it live.
We're missing a few tonight. Life's catching up. Kids are catching up. Mike's partying and getting sick, so hopefully he gets better.
Poor
But
guy, drink some water.
I'm sure he'll be all right. Yeah, I think it goes out as fast as it goes in. So
we
love
wanted to go to Vegas.
I know. I guess what happens in Vegas doesn't necessarily stay in Vegas, unfortunately.
No.
For Mike. We're just giving him a hard time, but it's all in fun games. But we're going to talk about briefly the Atlanta decision day match. We'll talk about we'll go a little bit into the playoffs. Alex got our writers got our bracket up, so we'll digest what that looks like and possibly looking at some future opponents, and then we'll talk about our first opponent in Charlotte, game 1. We'll make some predictions on that. So thank you guys for joining us tonight. First, let's get on with our sponsors that we got. Let's talk first about our man Chad McGibbon. The QR code is on the screen. He's a realtor, local Orlando realtor, also a massive Orlando City fan. He is our man that we go to for selling your house, buying a house. Give him a call, please. He's a wonderful fan of ours too, and obviously getting your mortgage or your house sold and bought with your connection to Orlando Lions Den is going to help you out in the long run, I promise, especially when you get to closing day. So give Chad a call, shoot him a message on Twitter at Chad McGibbon. His QR code is on the screen. Chad will buy or sell your house for you, and Leo will write the mortgage if you do it, or your refinance. Rates are coming down. Working at the bank, I know we anticipate them to continue to go down. So hit up Leo if you're thinking about refinancing your mortgage, taking out some of that equity, doing some repairs, upgrading some things in your house, debt consolidation, anything like that. You can look at a refinance with that equity in your home. Give Leo a call, 407-844-7696, applywithleo.com. QR code is also on the screen. We got our man Eddie, who's not with us tonight. He's got a bunch of stuff going on. Kids are kidding. They are obviously both been getting his youngest is now in high school and doing the theater thing, and life can't get busier than it is for Eddie. Also working super hard, doing his insurance gigs. So compare on insurance company, a Liberty Mutual company, house insurance, auto insurance, renter's insurance, pet insurance. Insurance is just going to get more worse, honestly, with these hurricanes. So if you get a renewal coming in, if you didn't like your coverage that you had, if you needed to make a claim and you want to shop your insurance around, hit up Eddie, and I promise he'll be honest with you, and he'll let you know where your rate is, if it's a good deal, and if he can beat it, he'll try his hardest to do that and get you a lower price. And then Hourglass Brewery, no mango, no party. I hope you guys got some while it was in stock. We appreciate them for having us out this year, and go try them out at Curry Forward, right by the Executive Airport, and down in Longwood by the old dog trek, right there by where are they next to Papa B's. Get yourself some nice wings too. Shout out to Papa B's.
And now you can go there and watch the playoff games on FS1.
Is that what we're on, FS1?
I believe most of the matches. Well, they're on Apple TV, but I think quite a few of the playoff games are on FS1, so they'll definitely be showing those. I'm pretty sure the highest concentration of no mango, no party in the entire world is in my refrigerator right now. I still have 3 or 4 cases left.
Oh man, I'm out. I've been out. It was so good though. I
I'd
thoroughly
only
enjoyed
drink
it.
them during Orlando matches, so I popped one for this match, and it did not go well for me. So,
I forgot
speaking
to
of
mention
which,
too. I voted.
oh yeah,
Got done today. Early voting is going on right now in Florida. Get in, beat the rush on the fourth. And honestly, I'm looking at it. It might be a hurricane by then. So go vote early.
not again.
Go and vote early. So make sure you guys get in and vote. Doesn't matter who you vote for. Just utilize that right to vote. Go and do it. All right. Let's talk about the Atlanta loss briefly. 2-1 loss. It was absolutely horrible for the first 15 minutes. Just miserable being there. I had a feeling Atlanta would be fighting for their playoff lives. I mean, they were. They were going to give us their best game. And they came out and scored 2 goals in the first 15 minutes. And they really took advantage of what felt like rusty legs, not only on having a 2 weeks off, but also Dagger Dan got a little toasted on the first goal. So there's mixing him back in. Obviously, he's our first choice right back. So it was important for him to get some minutes and get the start for that game. But that's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. We gave up 2 early goals. The defense was super disjointed, and after that they tightened it up. Dagger Dan did give a penalty in the second half, luckily saved by right off the gate too. The second half, luckily saved by Pedro, and then we get a goal, and um, after that, kind of all
We
hell
learned
breaks
what a
loose.
handball was.
Yeah, we did learn what a handball was. We talked about it on the Then After Dark, and unfortunately, with the new interpretation of the handball laws, your hand can literally be, under your shirt, tucked away in the most natural position of all time, the most I don't want to touch the ball with my hand position of all time. But if it hits your hand, leads to a goal, immediately, I think is what the rule says. If it immediately leads to a goal, then it is a handball. Now, if it comes off your body first, then hits your hand, and then goes in for a goal, then there's some room for interpretation there. But it's one of those that, unfortunately, if it was on a defender in the box, it would not have been a handball. But because it was on an offender in the box, it was a handball. So,
Especially
gotta love the
considering it was
rule,
the
don't you?
yeah, especially considering it was the last touch he made before he put the shot on net, and they called it a goal on the field, but the moment it went to the monitor, I knew, oh, this is coming back, and they spent less than 20 seconds at the monitor, and if it's that easy for them, it just is what it is. I still think this whole what is a handball question is continuing to get out of hand, and I don't know if we're honoring the spirit of the rule, but you know what? Them's the rules, and it is what it is. I think it's just hard to I think the most disappointing part about this whole match was, yeah, we came out rusty. It wasn't as bad. I said on Den After Dark, it wasn't as bad as when we came out and just got absolutely walloped by Kansas City. But after was that the last international window, or was that right
That was
after
the
League
Leagues Cup.
Cup? Okay. So even then we'd been off for 2 weeks, and we come back and we look real rusty. This was a similar situation, but we also were mixing, like you said, Dagger back in. And I had said to you guys before the match started, when he wasn't listed as injured, I'm like, glad to have him back. Would love him to be in the 18. I don't know if I want him to start. And I stand by that because, yeah, he needs the minutes, and it would have been nice to get him on the field. But at the same time, you can't put a player out there like that and let him get toasted like that. So it is what it is. But letting Atlanta get into the playoffs, that sucks. And I had to go on Scarves and Spike's post game show and put my foot in my mouth. They were nice about it. A lot of their fans were nice about it, but that sucked. So they have already played their wild card playing game, and now their prize is they get to play Miami.
Yeah. Here's the thing that that I think is, luckily, it did not affect our positioning on the table.
Yeah.
if it had affected our positioning, I would have been super upset about the loss. Very upset.
Especially because we would have lost home field advantage.
Yeah. So to me, if you would have told me going into decision day, you stay the 4 seed, you get Charlotte in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
I would have taken any, however way it came. I don't care. But you got to lose to Atlanta 2-1. Okay, that's fine. Whatever you guys say, I'll take that. I don't like playing at NYC. We just historically are not good against them, no matter what field we play on. The Mets are out now, so probably would have still been a baseball field.
Sorry again, Mike.
The Red Bull, we've been better against them, but still, not an awesome matchup for us that I want to go and do. We took 4 points off of Charlotte this year. We got 3 on the road and we tied them at home, and that leaves me confident. Now we took 0 points off in Atlanta, so that's all within context. But 4 points against Charlotte, we took 1 point against New York City, so I will definitely take the matchup against Charlotte. I'm not a fan of harping on in games like this, harping on past, what happened yesterday or last night or 2 nights ago or 3 nights ago. I don't care. As soon as the game was over, I saw the standings. I got blinders on. It's playoff time, baby. Whatever happened happened. Our seating didn't get messed up. We still have home field. We're still gonna have 2 out of 3 if we need it at home. We're still gonna probably play if we advance, play Miami. I don't. It doesn't bother me one bit that we lost because of the fact that there was no repercussions at the end of the day. So for me, we moved forward. I immediately was in playoff mode, and I was immediately looking ahead, into this Charlotte match. And I shared that sentiment on the Den After Dark, and I am excited with how it turned out. I think we can get 2 wins out of 2, and against Charlotte. And I don't want to come back and have to play them in a game three. I don't want to have them have any sort of momentum at all. So I think it's imperative that we win in 2 against them, and then we move on. Miami or Atlanta, one of the 2. Everybody's talking about Miami. Atlanta is looking better. They've played better this last month. They played really good until the last 15 minutes in their first matchup against Montreal in the wild card. And if Atlanta moves through and we move through, we play them at home. So, and we got a chance to finally get a win off them. We win the only one that matters. So, for me, I'm excited. I think this is the best case scenario, even though it came in a loss, and it's fully time to be focused on Sunday, 7:30 p.m., and hopefully we get a sellout again.
Indeed.
We talked a lot right before we go to stock up, stock down. You had mentioned that you're kind of not too. You were worried about Charlotte. Share what your worry was on Charlotte. I mean, obviously they have a great defense, but
that's basically my only worry is they have a great defense, and they also, what happens if our goals cool off at the worst possible time, which historically we have had a little bit of an issue in the playoffs. And I know you just said let's not dwell on the past, but I'm just a little nervous that we're not going to be able to beat Charlotte in 2. I think we can beat them at home. I think this is going to, it very well could be one of those cases where the home team's going to win every time. And it's not, I don't think we're going to go into these games like we did in the previous year against Nashville and just sit back and try and get a single goal and then hope that it either goes to penalties or we can get a Poppy special. I think we're going to go after it, and I hope we succeed, especially against how tough their defense is. At the same time, our defense is going to need to step up, because if we play against Charlotte the way we did against Atlanta, it's going to be a problem, and we're going to have a very tense 90 minutes, especially in Charlotte the following Friday, because that'll that'll be the shortest rest we're on because we're going Sunday to Friday, which we could talk about this a little bit in the playoff preview, but I still think we advance. I just think we do it in 3, not 2. But it is what it is.
Yeah, look, I mean, Charlotte, they allowed 37 goals. That's the best in the Eastern Conference. It's not going to be easy. That's for sure. So, but we just got to play. We got to play. We got to show our experience. They've never been here. We were here last year, and I think that's going to have to play a role as well. And a lot of these guys, flipping the coin, whereas Columbus had been here and we hadn't. Now we've been here and they haven't. So, even when we look into the, I hate looking ahead in the playoffs, but even if you do look ahead into the next round, we've been here, they haven't. So the experience factor is definitely going to have to play a role. All right, stock up and stock down. Who you got?
Stock up, I'm going to give to Ojeda just because it was good to get a goal down 2, and seeing him getting on the score sheet is nice because if there's any player that's going to be key in the playoffs, it's going to be him, even if he's just given some good passes and some good assists. He's going to be one of the keys in this matchup, especially in Charlotte, with the away pressure and the shorter rest. Stock down. Honestly, I'm going to be a little funny about this. I'm going to give stock down to Wilder. And he didn't even play in this match, and I'm just going to give him the stock down because he got suspended right before the end of the season. I know this. I was looking at some team stats as kind of a wrap up for the end of the season. I was shocked that he only came in 3rd for most yellow cards for the team. You want to know who came in first?
Janssen?
No, Janssen came in 2nd with 8. Cesar had 12 in MLS play. 14 in all competitions, but it was just dumb. And having Felipe in there, and you and Eddie both talked about this on Den After Dark, that it's a big drop off from, and he gets a lot of flack for this, but it's not his fault that Wilder and Cesar are such a good combo back there. Felipe is just not it, and that'll definitely be a priority in the offseason, but that's for the offseason. So that's my take. What do you got?
I got hate, obviously, for my stock up, but how about Kyle Smith, man? In my opinion, the guy, and it's not one that I usually am going to shout out. So if you've listened to the pod, you might have dropped your jaw a little on that one, but the guy's been super serviceable. He's led us on a winning streak. Well, not led us, but he's been a part of this winning streak that we had going into this match. Comes in after Felipe and really handles it well in the midfield, right? And I'm impressed. I'm impressed with him. I'm glad to have his leadership capability. He leads by example, and I love guys like that on any sport, anywhere, anytime, in life. I like people that lead by example. So Kyle Smith's like a workhorse, and he came in and did what he had to do in the midfield, which is always weird. And him not being on the pitch and Dagger being on in place of him, we lost. And it's hard to think that maybe the result would have been different if we had just kept the lineup the same as it was for the last however many wins we had in a row. So
we had a 3-game winning streak, and I'm pretty sure we didn't allow a goal during any of those. We allowed a goal during every single one of those. Never mind. Yeah. I am talking completely out of my butt today.
But yeah, Kyle is serviceable, man, and I was just missing his defensive structure. I mean, even against Cincinnati, his ball into Ramiro was the best assist he's ever had with us. So he's feeling hot. I don't think he deserved to be sat. I understand what Daggers has been able to do this season, but that leads to my stock down. Oscar Pereira. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, buddy. You got 3 in a row. You had 2 weeks off. There is zero reason not to bring in the same starting 11 that you've had, other than a suspension. And when the suspension's there, you don't start Felipe in a game that could have very well lost us home field in the first round. He got lucky. Oscar got lucky.
Who was it that won to give us to keep us in fourth? Oh, we have Montreal to thank for that.
Yeah, so Oscar got lucky, plain and simple. We had to rely on other results to keep our home field advantage because he decided to start Felipe in the midfield. We've seen Kuchevsky better. We all think he gives us more capability than Felipe. We've seen Kyle Smith in the midfield. I don't understand why you take Kyle Smith out and don't start him in the midfield, other than for depth. Maybe I get it. You never know, but you can always rotate him back in if you need to. I mean, I was upset when I saw Felipe starting. And no offense to Felipe. I mean, he's a great guy. He's an awesome guy. He's a locker room presence, but he don't got it anymore. Not in today's MLS. It's gonna burn you every time. And it did. And the lineup, I wasn't satisfied with Dagger starting again. And the only reason I think you start Dagger there is because you're starting Kyle Smith in the midfield, and that didn't happen. So that's got to be my stock down for this match. I'm not going to give it to Dagger because he's been off for months. So, he's got to get back into
he should have played. Like, he should have played. He should have just been coming off the bench against tired legs. That would have been.
I don't mind giving him the start, but put somebody else in it. Run a different formation. Do something. Give yourself at least a chance. Don't put Felipe in. It's all season. He's cost us, and I'm not saying he cost us this game directly, but man, it disjoints everything. You just don't got the legs, even from the start. So, just my opinion. All right, Alex, let's pull up that bracket. Let's talk about the playoffs.
Playoffs.
At least just this Eastern Conference side. We'll worry about the West if we actually have to worry about the West. We'll worry about the West. But either way, if we make the MLS Cup final, there's a darn tootin' good chance we're going to be playing on the road. So keep that in mind. December 7th on the road if we have to make it there. We did see Atlanta beat Montreal, right?
Yep. Beat Montreal in Montreal on penalty kicks. So we are looking at the matchup of Miami and Atlanta, with Miami having the home field advantage. Obviously, we have the home field advantage against Charlotte. Cincy in New York is going to be an interesting series. I think that one goes 3. And then the same for Columbus and Red Bulls. I think both of those go 3, and Miami and Atlanta might be the only one that goes 2. So, but what are your thoughts? Who do you think advances out of these 4, and who would you rather play, Miami or Atlanta, if we advance?
It's we didn't get a single point against either one of them all year, for the record. We tied Miami. We got a draw. 0-0
we tied Miami when Messi didn't come to town.
Yeah, so we did tie. But isn't it hard to look at this bracket and not think what MLS wants? I mean, they got so many opportunities. Charlotte's just the odd team out. That's another reason I'm happy about playing them, because on the bottom of the bracket, you can have a New York Derby in the semifinals, and you can have the Hell is Real Derby in Ohio with Cincinnati and Columbus. It's hard to imagine that one of those matchups won't be happening in the semifinal, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's hard to imagine. Obviously, the more likely one to happen would be Cincinnati and Columbus. With that being said, I don't think Cincinnati is going to advance. I don't think they're going to advance.
You think they've cooled down that much?
I do. And I think New York City is, unless Lucio Acosta goes ham, I think New York City is going to give them a run for it. So that's the one that I'm watching. Other than ours, I'm excited to watch that. Like you said, I do think that goes 3. I don't think Red Bull stands a chance against Columbus. I think that's 2-0. And I would not be surprised to see Miami and Atlanta go to 3 just because Messi either has to play on turf or they got to play without him. So,
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Is he going to play at the Benz? I didn't even think
yeah.
about that.
So I am going to think the semifinals, I'm going to take, as hard as it's believed, I'm going to take New York City. I'm going to take Columbus. I'm going to take Miami, and I'm going to take us. And in the conference finals, I'm going to have listen, I'm a diehard Orlando City fan, but I'm going to I want us to win. I hope we can win. I think we can win 2 out of 10 times against Miami in the playoffs, but the numbers say they're the best team in the history of MLS, with or without Messi, for the record. And Suarez is a whole different monster right now. They have a great midfield, and it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. So I'll just say in the conference final, if we advance, I think we'd be playing Columbus, and it would be a rematch if we advance. I'm not going to make a prediction on if we would be representing us. I will say this, if it is Miami and if it is Orlando in the conference semifinal, the winner of that game will win MLS Cup. I said this last year with Orlando and Columbus, and it turned out to be right. The winner of that game won the MLS Cup, and I will say it again, Miami and Orlando, the winner of that game, if it were to happen in the semifinals, will win the entire thing.
I can't argue with that. My only I agree with you that man, I didn't think about the Messi playing on turf thing. If he plays, that's one thing, but if he doesn't, it's very possible that that does go through. But and I'm sure that's what MLS and good old Uncle Don want, but Miami's just too good. They broke the points record. And I was considering where they were last year, they've really stepped it up, and it pains me. But I mean, Orlando City fans are all obviously rooting for neither one of these teams. But either way, we're going into this semi confident, but I don't think we can get past Miami. I think this is going to be the same thing that happened last year, that we advance past Charlotte and then we get bounced out in the semifinals. I don't see us making it to the conference final. As far as the other end of the bracket, the plain and simple thing of it is Miami is just too good. I mean, they beat us. Granted, we were a whole different team back in what was that, late March, early April, when they beat us 5-1, I think.
5-0. Probably could have been about 12-0, but yeah, it's 5-0.
Yeah. So, yeah, I just don't see us beating them. And if we do, yeah, we'll win MLS Cup. But the only way I can see us beating them is somehow getting a 1-1 draw and winning on penalties. Don't get me wrong. That happens. This fan base is going to be insufferable. And I hope it does, but that's the only scenario. You know how, like in Avengers, he said he looks at all the different scenarios. This is the one. That's the only way I see us advancing past Miami. Cincy in New York City, I see Cincy advancing. Just because, yeah, they've been. Are you tapping on something? Sorry. Okay. Cincy advances. I think we get Hell is Real against Columbus, and I see Columbus getting a chance to go back to back in MLS Cup appearances. So I think a Miami Columbus Eastern Conference final is the most likely, and I think that will be a really good game. So we shall see.
It'll be good even if it's us versus Columbus. I mean, it's going to be a good.
Us
yeah.
Us versus Columbus would be a good game.
I like your shout out on the penalties because I think it goes right after 90 into the pins. Actually, no.
Not in
Last
the
year we went 120.
semifinals.
Yeah.
Semifinals is 120. It's only in round 1 where it's only 90, and then because they want to do this weird format, which I don't think we really need the bracket anymore. Oh, and so the 1 week Mike's out, and I'm taking you out instead of the bracket. I think that this format is stupid. I think that, especially with there being the international break, then there's decision day, just 1 week of regular season games, which we had a good discussion on Battered MLS Fans about how the only reason there's so many playoff teams is because decision day needs to still have drama and get eyes on the league before the playoffs. I mean, the entire Eastern Conference or the Western Conference was set. It was literally just who was going to get what ranking, and that was it. And it turned out that LAFC did advance and get there and did get through as the number 1 seed. So they're just trying to get eyeballs on it. But I hate this best of 3. At most, it should be home and away. I mean, granted, that doesn't give you as much of an advantage with seeding, but I just don't like it. I don't like what it does to the league. I don't like how long it drags on. And I hope they get rid of it next year. I don't think they will, but I hope they do.
I also don't like it. I think it'd be super easy. I mean, there's only 100,000. Every other tournament in the world soccer is home and away, home and away, home and away, and then the final is the 1 game, shootout. And the seeding it benefits you in the final. If you make it, you get to host, and it benefits you when you have to play certain teams. Would you rather play the 8 seed or the 5 seed in the first round? You know, so that to me is enough. And home and home would be great in every round. And I don't, it would be adding 1 extra week, in theory, 1 extra week to the playoffs. So I also agree. I would prefer the 1-1, but hey, here we are, best of 3, knockout after that, and let's hope and pray that we can turn it around. I will say this, man: if we can avoid the horrendous, we've never seen a playoff series, a playoff match where we just haven't had a miserable mistake ever, not once. So if we can avoid the red card, which I think in every game that we've ever been eliminated in the playoffs, we've had a red card. Even if it was a goalkeeper and penalty kicks, it still was a red card. We advanced, but we have a red card in every playoff game, I think, that we've been eliminated in. So if
who was red carded against Columbus last year?
Schlegel.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Ojeda missed by 5 inches. I'll never forget it.
Almost. You and I were sitting right next to each other.
I think we would have won MLS Cup if Ojeda hits that. We win MLS Cup. We're probably 5 inches away from an MLS Cup title. In all honesty, we'd have been hosting MLS Cup. We'd have been at home. We're legitimately, probably 5 inches away from hoisting a trophy and having the star over the badge last year. So then Schlegel gets a horrible red card and they put it on us. But, the deal is
that's not going to happen this year.
No, we got to avoid
going to happen.
And if we can't avoid that, something's got to be called upon, because at this point, it's not a coincidence. If we have another horrible mistake, it's not a coincidence. I think Poppy's still coaching for his job. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but I think he's still coaching for his job. Players got to realize that. Players got to play for him if they really want him to be there. But, first round exit, I think he's definitely gone.
Second round exit, we lose to Charlotte in 3, he's gone. That I will agree with.
So, no matter how you feel about what he did and how he's done in the second half of every season, it doesn't matter because it has to be result driven, especially if there's a big error like we have every year. You can only blame the players for so long. At some point, it's got to go into the preparation and the discipline and what you're doing to make everything happen. So I do think he's coaching for his job. With that being said, I think we'll show up and I'm not going to say we're going to lose to Miami, not because I'm an Orlando City fan, but just because I strongly believe anything can happen. I think this team is different than that 5-0 game that we played to them in the early beginning, and even when it was 0-0 at home, we played. I think we were the better team in that match. So, and you never know what happens with Messi. You never know; could get injured. These guys are played a lot. Messi played only half the games. Suarez has played a ton. So you just never know. You got to take it 1 week at a time. Starts with Charlotte, and that's where we got to be. So, all right, let's talk about Charlotte, and then we'll get to the shoutouts. We're making this an early one, but short one, which I think is beneficial with the two of us on here. But Charlotte is a must-win, man. This home game. You do not want to go to Charlotte in their first ever playoff game and have to win a game. You don't want to do it. So that's the only thing we talk about why I'd prefer to play Charlotte. The one reason I wouldn't prefer to play Charlotte because if they get a win in game one, our chances of advancing are about zero because that place is going to be rocking. Stadium holds 60,000. It's probably going to be damn near close to sold out in Charlotte.
More fans than the Panthers have seen all season.
Oh, 100%. And it's you have to win this game to go up there and shut them up. You can't get shut up and then go up there and pray that you're going to win 2 in a row. So you got to win this game. I do think we'll win the game. I think Duncan is going to carry us. I don't think I'll be surprised if he starts, but I won't be surprised if he makes a difference. I'm going to say 2-1 Orlando City. 1-0, we get out to the lead. They tie it up, and Duncan scores the winner, 2-1.
Ooh, I like that. I like that a lot. I agree. This is a must win. I mean, all playoff games are must wins, but in a 3-game series, especially with penalties being the alternative, if it's a draw at the end, we got to win this thing in regulation. We can't leave it to chance. Penalty kicks are torture. And if we give them the momentum to go home with a W, and like you said, that's the one thing I hadn't even thought about until you just said it. That stadium will have at least 30,000 people in it, if not more. It's on a Friday night. It's in Charlotte. They need something to cheer about in that town, considering the Panthers are terrible. And I think their fans will show up. So we've got to go show that we can beat them and get the early lead. I think it's going to be a little bit more of a good game for us. I think we win 3-1. I think I do agree that we'll go up early. It'll probably get tied, and then we're just going to blow the brakes off of them in the second half. Duncan will come off the bench, and I'll say he scores a brace off the bench.
Yeah. I just think it's going to be late. It's going to be cardiac cats, I think, to get the dub. That's what I'm thinking. And I think we need it, to be honest. We need it. We need that shock and that wake up. We got one wake up call, and I think we need this to say, hey, we can do this. This is our year. So, and
some adrenaline to the heart.
Listen, we were the second hottest team, maybe the hottest team last year going into the end of the season. This year, we're clearly the hottest team in the league. They've been talking about it. We dropped to Atlanta, but hey, we are the best team in the league right now, other than Miami. And, this is the time to prove it. When you go into Miami, you got to love the David versus Goliath story. You got to love the the underdog story. You got to love the potential to do it. These guys are going to eat that up. Last year we weren't that. We were the 2 seed. We were playing at home against Columbus. It was the opposite way around, and Columbus took it to us with that mindset. So I think, you look at how we played in the MLS or in the Leagues Cup first edition against Messi a year and a half ago, and that was a chippy game. And the only reason we lost that game was because of the refs. That was it. We outplayed them. And, I think it's going to be similar. I think we got to get back. We got to get past Charlotte. It starts on Sunday. We have to win that game. If we win that game, I'm going to be feeling pretty confident for the rest of the series, and I'll be feeling confident against Miami because this is what we do. We have to feel confident. We have to think that we can win. I do believe we can win, but between Messi and the refs, it's not going to be easy. So I think Muzi said that today. It would be a privilege. It would be a privilege to play them, to have a chance to knock off the best team in MLS history at their house, send Messi packing, early vacation, drinking his Miller Lite, I think it is.
Michelob Ultras.
So.
I can't. I literally can't drink a Michelob Ultra in a good conscience anymore for that exact reason.
Drinking his water beer by the water while we're playing in the conference finals. So I think it's time. It starts on Sunday. So
confidence builds momentum.
Yeah, we got to do it. 2-0 would be great. Although I'm not a fan of having a week off if it does go to 3 in the other game. So
I said that last year about us in Nashville and kind of wanting to go 3. I just want to win, baby. The problem with that is, again, we have not looked good coming off of a week off. And that's another thing I just don't like about this format is sometimes it just happens. So We'll see. We will see.
All right. Shout outs. You got one?
I don't know if have we talked about the Pride at all and them getting the shield. I don't know if that you guys, I don't know if we ever talked about that. So I'll just make that my shout out. I might have said it no, that was my shout out last week. I'm tired. Shout out to me having 4 wins in a row in fantasy football.
Oh, Ryder. Where did that come from?
I've made a couple of good moves, made a couple of trades, and my players just started to get hot. And Caleb Williams has had some good games for me, and it just worked out. It'll be interesting to see how I do against Adrian this week, but I am now in 3rd place. I went from being dead last, starting the season 0-3 to being 4-3. We'll see. And then there's Cleon.
Poor guy. He's out of the relegation zone. He's won just by tiebreaker. But here's the thing for me. I have 2 fantasy leagues. I played 12 combined games, and I did the math, and my opponent has had their best week of the season in 8 out of 12 of my games. Not just their best week of the season in general. One of them was you up until I think because you had a better week. Maybe it might still be your best week of the season, but
no, I think my best was that the one where I did like 130 against you.
I think you did like 143 or something like that. Either way,
I put up $150 this last week, so up until that point, it was my best week.
I'm fighting to survive, me on my fantasy league. So I'm going to shout out Montreal. Thanks for making sure that we don't drop to the 5 seed. It is highly appreciated, very, very much so appreciated. And then
hope you guys enjoy the off season.
Yeah, and then losing to Atlanta to guarantee us if we advance a derby in the second round. Either way, it's going to be fun and close. We'll have a lot of fans there. I know there's going to be a ton of fans in Charlotte. So I think flights are like $65 to fly in there Friday afternoon and get home on Saturday.
Tell me that. I got friends that live in Charlotte that are already trying to get me to come up. My wife would kill me if I did that.
Yeah, I was thinking about going. I don't think I can get it off though, but I was thinking about going and supporting. I was thinking about flying myself up there. Me and my buddy, we were going to fly up there. But
you want to come pick me up in Marco Island or Naples?
In Marco down there? Yeah, it's cheap. It would be way cheaper. It's just way cheaper to fly by airplane, though. But something about flying yourself to the game is something cool. I wanted to do. So, but yeah, shout out Montreal. Thank you guys for keeping us the 4 seed, and then proceeding to give us a fat L against Atlanta and guaranteeing a derby if we advance. So I appreciate that.
I have a bonus shout out because the MLSPA end of season salaries came out today. Shout out to Duncan for getting that bag. Over $1 million. He was getting paid what, 80 with that rookie contract, and he goes from 80 to making money. Good for him.
1.1 milli.
Getting paid. Good for him.
I'm happy for him, and I think he could be a staple in MLS and for Orlando City. So I'm happy to see him get that money and not go anywhere. And I think he's going to show why we did it in the playoffs.
Ooh, I like that. I like that a lot.
We'll see. I'll see you. We'll be talking on Saturday night, I'm sure, on the Den After Dark. Hopefully Mike gets better by then. I'll be at the game, of course.
Sunday night.
Can't miss a playoff game. Sunday night. I won't miss a playoff game. Can't miss a playoff game. So I'll be there. But you got anything else, Ryder?
I will be missing the playoff game. It's my wife's birthday weekend, so we're doing what she wants, and that does not include watching soccer. So I will not be watching game 1. I will only be watching game 2. That's what you got to do for love. What's that? I'm pretty sure we're gonna be in a concert in like a concert hall. So I think that's frowned
upon. The volume button is awesome. Turn it all the way down. Little Twitter updates.
I might get them on my watch. I'll probably get watch updates. That's what I'll be doing.
The way I look at it is like, she's not going to leave you because you check the score a couple times, so you got to just play the line of marriage.
This is marriage advice from Alex and Alex.
For better or for worse, worse maybe checking the score on the weekend, the wife's birthday weekend. So
funniest thing is
that's my problem is every year MLS Cup is on my anniversary weekend. But hey, the wife already knows if we ever make MLS Cup, I got a hell of a trip ready for the anniversary. It's just going to involve about 3.5 hours of soccer, no matter where it's at in the country.
At least you're taking her along. I don't think Kayla would want to go to an impromptu trip for MLS Cup.
Oh, I will be there. I'm like that Tottenham fan when they went to the Champions League final. And he said in the interview, he said, I don't care if I have to rob a bank. I'll be there.
Well, that's what Kansas City fans normally do.
All righty, y'all. Well, we appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for listening. Can't wait to see y'all Sunday. And Sunday night we'll get you on with Dad, Den After Dark playoff edition. And as always, almost Orlando. Go City. Let's do this thing.
Peace.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Orlando Lions Den podcast. Don't forget to follow us at Orlando Lions Den on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. See you next week in the Den.